Hello. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. I am Safina Ahmed Tori, a corporate banker by profession and a former student of University of Dhaka, Faculty of Business Studies. I'd like to convey a warm welcome and heartily invite you all to our discussion on development opportunities in emerging economies here at EMK Center. Our purpose here is to explore the avenues and strategies that can drive sustainable growth and development in emerging markets like Bangladesh. We are honored to have Dr. Laura E. Codres, an esteemed faculty member at MIT and a former senior staffer at the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Dr. Codres brings a wealth of knowledge and experience, having contributed significantly to global economic policy and financial stability. Her insights will be invaluable as we navigate the complexities of development in our rapidly evolving economic landscape. Following Dr. Codres's presentation, we will hear from a distinguished panel of speakers who will further enrich our understanding of opportunities and challenges faced by emerging economies. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be 2 sessions. In the very first session, as panelists, we are glad to have amongst us Dr. Abdul Hannan Chaudhry, Professor, SBE, North-South University, former Dean, NSU. So, Assalamu alaikum and welcome. Ifte Islam BA MA from University of Oxford, founder, chairman at Asian Tiger Capital Partners and co-founder of Fred Green Consulting, RGC. Dr. Sheikh Tanzila Deepti, Associate Professor, Finance, University of Dhaka. Mohammad Najmul Hassan, Associate Professor, University of Dhaka and former Independent Director, Phoenix Insurance Limited and Far East Stocks and Bonds Limited. Mohammad Akhtar Pervez, Managing Director of PHP Automobiles Limited and Honorary Council of Malaysia. Mr. M. Shafur Rahman Majumdar, FCA, FCMA, Managing Director, Chittagong Stock Exchange PLC, CSE. Last but not the least, Mr. M.S. Siddiqui, legal economist, writer, columnist, and an entrepreneur, CEO, Bangla Chemicals. In session 2, we will have amongst us Mr. Muhammad Minhaz bin Salim, Board of Directors, JCI Dhaka North, BBA and MBA from University of Dhaka. Dr. Ridwan Al-Aziz, Assistant Professor Buet, PhD in Industrial and Systems Engineering, SUNY University at Buffalo, NY, USA, and Dr. Nafisa Mahbub, Assistant Professor, Buet, PhD in Industrial and Systems Engineering, SUNY University at Buffalo, NY, USA. So without further ado, to give away the welcome remarks, I'd like to call upon Dr. Abdul Hannan Chaudhry, Professor, SBE, North-South University, former Dean, NSU.
Good morning. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be part of this program organized by JCI Dhaka North. And I am Professor Abdul Hannan Chaudhry. I was the former Dean of North-South University School of Business for a long time. I have been actually at North-South University for many years, actually, at North-South. In between from North-South, I was also given a position for a vice chancellor and a pro-vice chancellor in 2 other universities. I went back again in North-South Business School after finishing those terms. To me, the program that today JCI has organized with the title of the opportunities, development opportunities in emerging economies, I would say that, well, this is going to be a very pertinent discussion session for for the targeted audience, particularly the young youths and those who are truly concerned about the development of a country like Bangladesh that are truly entering into the emerging economies. And we all know that there are many impediments and challenges being a country that is actually turning from the low-income countries to a developing countries state. I think the benefit that the audience, those who are going to participate today, are going to get from the panel discussions, and also especially the keynote speaker, Laura Codres from MIT, who has been working all her life actually in the IMF and also finally in the finance sector and also in the MIT, Center for Finance and others. So the other day, then when we were actually chatting with Laura, I was actually trying to figure out that what she's going to be actually talking today in regards to the context of a country like Bangladesh, where she has never been in there, and nor even she is actually very acquainted with the business and the financial sector the way we are actually running in our country. Laura is going to emphasize, so far as we know, that she is going to, talk about the trust at the very beginning. So, because in financial sector, most of you know that, well, trust is very important. She is also going to emphasize the financial literacy and the education that are truly very crucial for a country to even evolve in the economic, dimension. And she has figured out many challenges in Bangladesh in terms of the corruptions and other things. I'm sure that you all and we are going to be, beneficial in terms of enriching our knowledge from her very thought-provoking presentations. And we would like to see that whether we can take, good knowledge, and also some guidelines, which are going to lead eventually JCI from this program finally to make some policy recommendations for the financial sectors of our country. And this is what actually we truly want, that evaluated session that we are going to have today. The way they have organized, as the MC has already mentioned, there are two sessions. In the beginning, there will be a panel discussions, and also there is another session with also very esteemed, speakers will be there. And I'm very delighted to say that we have actually among us with the, Mr. Shafiur Rahman Majumdar with us from Chittagong Stock Exchange. These are the people, they are actually working behind in terms of the financial activities and rules, regulations, many things they are actually working on. So with all this, once again, at the very beginning, I do not want to prolong. At the outset, I would like to thank all of you, and also I myself is also very privileged to be part of this program. So thank you very much. We are going to wait for hearing actually from also Mr. Shafiur Rahman. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Just like you, we all are actually eagerly waiting for this session to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to call upon Mr. M. Shafiur Rahman Majumdar, MD of Chittagong Stock Exchange PLC, a seasoned financial expert of our country. Sir, please.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Actually, it's a great pleasure for me to be a part of this very interesting session on development opportunities in emerging economics. In fact, I am here as one of the panel discussants. But still, I am taking this opportunity to welcome Dr. Laura E. Kudris, who will be speaking on this gathering. Mostly young population are here. In fact, if we talk about our economy, then definitely it's an emerging economy. And as a part of capital market, initially, just I would like to give some idea on the opportunities and challenges of capital market first, then I will take opportunity to speak on the overall challenges of the economy and what are the opportunities before us in our economy. If we talk on a capital market, we have the size of the market is still small, and market cap GDP ratio is now below 15%. And there are two exchanges working, Dhaka Stock Exchange and Chittagong Stock Exchange. And almost all the market intermediaries and participants are there. But if we see the size of the market, and if we compare with our neighboring countries, then a huge areas of development, huge opportunities, and huge untapped areas are there, because we are working, but still on equity segments. But if we see the development of capital market all over the country, there are huge asset classes, not only equity. Side by side of equity market, there are a large size of bond market and ETF, mutual fund industry, and nowadays commodity market. But in our country, just we are still around 360 corporates are listed with both stock exchanges. Some mutual funds are working, but there is no sizable bond market. So in our capital market, we have to bring, in fact, a vibrant bond market, a vibrant commodity market, and if we and even regarding the market infrastructure, we have exchanges, depository brokers, asset management companies. But in case of CCP, it is in the process. So regulatory structure is not yet in full-fledged in operation. We are in the process of making a CCP. But if we consider that we have to adopt, we have to implement all the asset classes that are available in our even South Asian countries, then we need a huge infrastructure, huge human resources, and we are working. You will be happy to know that we, from the side of Chittagong Stock Exchange, we are actively working to implement a commodity exchange for the first time in Bangladesh. And we have already placed orders to get our technology, and we are aiming to start at the end of this year or just at the beginning of next year for the first time the commodity derivatives transactions in Bangladesh. And then our plan is to start a derivatives transaction in the capital market of Bangladesh. So in terms of development of capital market, I see what are the requirements. We are just having around more or less 20%. So we have to achieve rest 80%. So definitely we need huge experts, financial experts, technology experts, market experts. Then I think it indicates a great opportunity for our future generation, for our younger generation, to make themselves to take the challenges of these development dreams and development initiatives. So this is the area of capital market. Then you all know Bangladesh is a growing economy, emerging economy. Now we are working in the mostly in export sector. We have ready-made garments and textiles. But another emerging area is there in terms of technology. Mostly from our side, if we consider banking sector or financial institution sector, or even capital market, we depend on technologies from other countries. So it's a I think, a huge potential area. If we can develop our people to get the challenges of technology development, particularly in every sector. If you see, if it is a manufacturing sector or service sector, we need technology. And we are observing there are huge gap in terms of supply and demand of technological need. And at the same time, if we consider or if we see the challenges, what are the challenges? Presently, we are observing the particularly the economic pressure in terms of our foreign currency, in terms of our inflationary effect, and recently we are facing a mismatch of interest rates, interest rates in the economy. But I think the prudent decision of our present government will be able to overcome the challenges, and definitely, again, it will be going on to achieve around or above 7% of GDP. Before the COVID period, if we consider the 10 years of average GDP growth, it was plus minus 7%. But after COVID, if we compare the impact of other countries, the Bangladesh was doing better, and our GDP growth was around 5.5 to 6%. So if we see the social indicators and economic indicators, again, we will be requiring huge numbers of experts in the financial fields, in the technological fields, and in specific areas of experts or industry experts we will be requiring. So we have to work on that way so that we can fill up the gaps in the requirements of our economy. And another issue is we have demographic dividend. It is known all over the world. Bangladesh is one of the countries we have huge young populations, so we have to engage them in the economy. But without having sufficient expertise, I think development in terms of training, HR development, these are areas that we have to focus. So taking this opportunity, I think all the young population are here. I think definitely if we focus on the development of our HR, our training, our capacity development, it will create a great opportunity for our economy. So taking this opportunity, I have mentioned some issues on our economy, and again, I am thankful to the organizers. And now, should I welcome Dr. Laura A. Kudres to present her presentation. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Okay.
Hello, I'm here in the United States. I'd like to begin by sharing my screen so that you can follow along with the presentation. So let me begin by thanking the organizers, and specifically Mr. Minhaz, a board member of the JCI Dhaka North, for inviting me to speak to you today. It is an honor to be speaking along such distinguished guests and to have so many people listening. Let me also note that although I am an associate of the Golub Center for Finance and Policy at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, my remarks today are my own and should not be construed as representing the Golub Center. Today, I'd like to address a fundamental concept for financial markets, and one that has only increased in importance as financial markets become more globally integrated and technologically advanced. This concept is trust. Financial markets can only operate to the benefit of all if people trust that their interactions are going to be valid and honored. This trust is not just between the people using financial markets, but extends to the policies influencing these markets, in particular those taken by a central bank relating to monetary policy. There needs to be trust that a central bank is acting in the best interest of the populace. Why is trust so important? Consider that financial transactions are basically contracts between two counterparties to deliver money in exchange for something. Sometimes other money, like different currency. Sometimes a promise of a stream of money in the future, like a savings account or a bond that pays interest, or an equity that pays dividends or capital gains. And often goods and services. But money itself and its value is a rather amorphous thing. It only has value because people believe it has value. They trust that they can use it in exchange for other things. So, how concretely do people acquire this trust in money and its role in financial markets? Let's take monetary policy first. The concept of a central bank and the use of monetary policy was born out of banking panics, where banks lost the trust of their depositors, eliciting what we refer to as a bank run. This financial disruption, namely when some depositors find their banks don't have enough cash on hand to pay them, since the banks are unable to liquidate their longer-term investments quickly, can cause an economy to slow or even fall into recession. So, enter a central bank with a mandate to supervise commercial banks, forcing them to put aside some of their depositors' money as reserves in the central bank, or often creating a deposit insurance fund to help protect depositors from loss in case of a bank failure. These actions create trust. Trust that depositors can get their money back and their bank can lend the depositors' money to others who have productive ideas, but that take time to come to fruition. In today's more globalized world, a central bank not only supervises commercial banks, but also has a mandate to maintain the value of money. So when depositors do get their money back, potentially with interest, it can actually buy things. The value of money in today's more globalized world depends on both domestic inflation, any increase in the cost of domestic goods and services, but also on the value of the currency when some of those goods and services are purchased from abroad. I'm simplifying quite a bit, but the basic idea is that a central bank, through monetary policy, is supposed to keep inflation under control and not let the exchange rate depreciate too much or too fast. By doing so, the value of money is maintained, or at least changes in its value can be anticipated, so people can trust that it can be used. Most people who study central banking agree that for central banks to control inflation and maintain their currency valuations, they need to be independent of political influence. Governments often benefit from too low interest rates, since this boosts the economy and related trade tax revenues and lowers the cost of issuing their own debt. So, you can see that for a central bank to tame inflation by raising interest rates, it needs to be independent. And that is a key component of trust. Okay, I'm still speaking rather abstractly. So let's dive in a little bit deeper to how trust in central banks is built. Let me name a few concrete ways that countries have tried to assure the independence and trust of their central banks. In some, like the United Kingdom, the central bank is its own corporation. In other cases, it is connected to the government in the sense that the the central bank must provide any profits that it makes to the Treasury, but maintains its own balance sheet and budget and is not pressured to buy government securities. Independent central banks are allowed to recruit and choose their own staff, maybe with only the top officials, such as the governor, being approved by the government. The key, though, is to ensure that the government officials have no formal say in the policies adopted by the central bank. Government about its activities. I understand that in Bangladesh, monetary policy is now conducted by using interest rates as a monetary policy tool. Given that inflation is relatively high, the Bangladesh Bank needs to raise interest rates to try to get inflation under control. But it knows full well that this will slow the economy and adds to the cost of government debt. So its ability to raise interest rates without government intervention will be an important test of the Bangladesh Bank's independence. Let's turn to financial markets. How is trust built and maintained? Clearly, people will engage if they feel they are treated fairly and have recourse if not. Treated fairly does not mean that they will always make money, nor that the provision of financial services is free. However, it does mean that they can fully understand the risks of their financial contracts, and if those contract terms are not upheld, they can legitimately complain and obtain recourse within a reasonable time frame. This, in turn, means the infrastructure underpinning financial markets is sound and efficient. Given the importance of the financial infrastructure, I'm going to spend the rest of my talk on this topic. Please be aware that what I'm presenting is, in some sense, the ideal or set of best practices for infrastructure. It is aspirational, if you will. No country that I know of satisfies all these criteria. Still, it's good to know what to aim for. The infrastructure includes four main areas, each of which I'll discuss in turn. 1, laws and rules surrounding financial institutions and transactions. 2, accounting standards and disclosure requirements. 3, clearing and settlement systems. And 4, open trading venues. First, the laws and rules surrounding financial transactions and the methods for enforcing them. Importantly, do the laws written and passed by a parliament or legislature avoid unnecessary ambiguity? Are rules, such as those pronouncements issued by a regulator associated with, say, clearing and settlement organizations or exchanges, written in such a way that they can be understood by users? Are there courts or adjudicators that have enough knowledge that they can interpret the laws and rules in an unbiased way? Do the processes and judgments appear fair to most people? These are questions that should be answered with a yes if the legal and regulatory structure is to be tested. Second, accounting and disclosure. One of the ways to ensure trust in the financial system is to have adequate information about the corporations and financial institutions that issue securities or act as intermediaries. By adequate, I mean information that is accurate, presented in an easily understood manner, and released regularly. In today's world of fast computers and competing accounting packages, the production and reporting of accounting information can be expedited. In principle, a digital means of organizing and providing accounting information should lower the cost of doing business. The same information should be available to all potential market participants, so no one of them has an advantage over the others. Again, the widespread use of the internet makes the digital distribution of information much cheaper and efficient. Of course, interpretation of any information is up to the user. Their ability to discern truth from falsehood requires them to have some digital acumen before they can trust what they receive. In Bangladesh, the small and medium-sized enterprise sector has the potential to become a larger part of the economy. But these small enterprises face challenges in producing valid accounting information. Helping small firms and entrepreneurs to keep information in a digital form to organize it to allow them to verify their revenues and costs, and to use it to formulate a business plan can aid their entry into capital markets. The International Accounting Standards Board has a set of standards specifically for small and medium-sized enterprises, so-called SMEs, which will help them attract capital at a lower cost. Further, in Bangladesh, there is a trading venue devoted to SMEs, though it is still small and not yet matured. Third, what about the clearing and settlement of transactions themselves? Although it is usually an unseen component of market, it is very important. Indeed, most people don't know what the words clearing or settlement actually mean. Clearing refers to both parties agreeing on the price and quantity of their transaction, while settlement is the legal transfer of the securities from one party to the other. If people don't know when they actually own the securities they have purchased, or don't know when they are absolved from a previous position, then they begin to mistrust the system. If their securities get lost, or the price they thought they had agreed to is not the one that is used for the transaction, it's even worse. Quickly correcting mistakes and ensuring that all parties know when they get their ownership is key to trust in the clearing and settlement system. In Bangladesh, it appears there are several different time periods for equities to settle, based on the various categories in which they are placed. To an outsider like myself, it is unclear why settlement should be any different across different categories. Moving to a system in which there are fewer categories would align with most countries that maintain active trading of equities. Hopefully, the system of settlement can move from multiple days to just one, so-called T+1. When in place, such a shorter period is expected to reduce costs, increase market efficiency, and reduce settlement risk in the securities transactions. Fourth, trust is instilled by an open trading venue. The public should know the criteria used to allow certain types of individuals to trade in various markets. For instance, not all people have enough savings to participate in highly risky markets where they could lose it all. Those able to participate should be able to see current market prices, both bids to buy and offers to sell, for securities, and understand the other costs of participating, like fees. An open market needs to be overseen, however, so manipulation can be observed. For instance, the practice of some frequent traders submitting fake orders to make it seem as if the other side of the market is deep and then suddenly removing them is a common bait and switch technique, hurting the average customer. As well, insider trading, whereby some of the firm's employees are able to anticipate news about the firm and trade on it before it is publicly announced, is another form of market manipulation. In any case, market manipulation should be defined, discouraged, and prosecuted when it is observed. In Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission is the body that enforces these types of rules. As well, it oversees the exchanges on which trading takes place. So, it is the body where complaints against those who break the rules should be lodged. I have discussed 4 components of a financial system that help elicit trust. Each of them can be helped by the public sector, but ultimately, the private sector also needs to be on board to make these 4 components work. Let me briefly discuss some roles for the public sector and then turn to the private sector. One role of the public sector that I haven't mentioned, but is a key component, is the reliability of electricity and the communications technology. In most countries, including Bangladesh, the public sector is ultimately responsible for ensuring this basic part of life, and it is a critical part of a well-functioning financial system, let alone the economy in general. Beyond this basic component, the government should write clear laws and is the main enforcer of them. The government influences how well a judicial system functions. Laws on the books that are inconsistently enforced or not enforced at all are worthless for instilling trust. On accounting and disclosure, in most countries, this is overseen by a government entity, or if not, at least one that has a seat at the table. In our more globalized world, accounting bodies like the International Accounting Standards Board have set the bar for most countries, including Bangladesh. Again, adoption is the first part, but enforcement is the second. Most countries have seen accounting abuses, and many of these abuses take a long time to be prosecuted and corrected. In today's world of social media, it's even more important to have accounting statements and the disclosure of business information be accurate and prompt. Just the hint of impropriety can lead to runs on banks, sell-offs of securities, and excessive volatility, all of which undermine trust. There is a heated debate in many countries about who should own or control a clearing and settlement system. In some countries, it is viewed as a public good, and hence the role is given to government. In others, it's viewed as more efficient to have it be privately owned and run. In some countries, it's a mix. Regardless of who owns or controls this component, the key for trust is to ensure that rules are clear and enforcement is prompt. These entities, by their nature, are monopolies, and so governments need to exercise some oversight to ensure prices for this service are not too high and that they respond to customer demand. As with clearing and settlement, there are a variety of views about whether trading venues should be publicly or privately owned and operated. Even among the business models for private trading venues, there are a variety of ownership structures. For instance, some exchanges have individual private membership structures, and some of those only admit the major financial institutions. And others issue their own shares that are publicly traded and widely held. Again, the idea is that trading venues' rules need to be clear, enforced, and the mechanisms for recourse available to all that are allowed to trade there. It can be helpful to establish a formal method for consumer grievances to be expressed, and the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission has such a method. At the very least, a government should have in place a formal registration process for trading venues and keep track of their rules, making them publicly available, and ensuring they are enforced. This goes for newer fintech trading revenues as well. Turning now to the private sector's role in the underpinnings of markets. First, it is relevant, though perhaps a bit obvious, that most people will interact with a private sector entity in the financial system. It could be a bank, a financial company, a securities firm, a trust, a custodian, whatever. A private sector firm has at least some incentive to maintain a reputation for honesty in order to obtain and keep the trust of their clients, as without it, they can't expect to grow their business. Ultimately, clients gravitate to those they can trust with their money and away from those that appear to be stealing it. That said, there is also an incentive to make profit, and sometimes a firm can appear trustworthy, but isn't. And that situation can continue for some time under the surface, especially if accounting standards and disclosure requirements are not enforced. Another element of the private sector's involvement is to maintain codes of conduct that require adherence to both laws and rules and accounting standards and disclosure requirements. There should be consequences for violating such codes of conduct. It is additionally helpful if there is a method of reporting aberrations without personal retribution, a so-called anonymous hotline, or the ability of a whistleblower to come forward. Because the private sector is closest to the clients, it makes sense for them to have a larger role in some parts of the infrastructure. The clearing and settlement systems and the trading venues are the ones where they are best placed for involvement. But for these parts to thrive, the private sector needs to treat their clients fairly and follow the requirements set down by the regulators. In Bangladesh, most of the trading of securities, namely bonds, mostly government bonds, mutual funds and exchange-traded funds or ETFs, and equities are done at private sector exchanges under the purview of the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission. To round out its markets, Bangladesh is planning to establish a commodity exchange, which will allow its users to hedge certain types of commodity risk through futures contracts. As with the other exchanges, it will be in the private sector. And with the aid of a large investor, ABG Limited, it is likely to get off the ground later this year. For new endeavors such as this one, the trading rules, membership criteria, and the clearing and settlement systems are important components to its potential success. It is important to recognize that all of this financial infrastructure is run by people. And to make it work, people need to know how to build, maintain, and adjust the financial infrastructure to keep up with modern times. As important, perhaps even more so, is that the people interacting with its various parts need to be educated. That is, they need to be financially literate. The saying, "build it and they will come," does not work here. They will not come unless they see that it is built with integrity and can be trusted. What do I mean by financially literate? People have to be able to recognize the laws and rules and what they mean in a practical, common sense way without having to be an attorney. They must be able to read accounting statements and a company's disclosures and determine whether the company is worth interacting with, worth investing in, or worth getting rid of. In other words, they need to understand their ability to take on certain types of financial risks. They must understand the statement that tells them whether their order for, say, a government security has been executed and at what price. They must be able to submit orders to a trading venue and understand what type of order they have submitted and how it will be handled. And most of all, they need to know who to turn to when they feel they have been treated unfairly or taken advantage of. In Bangladesh, there are various places where people can obtain financial education material. The Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission has a division dedicated to financial literacy related to the capital markets it oversees. There is, of course, a need to provide financial education about all financial products and services, not just those on capital markets. And I'm an advocate of starting as early in a person's life as possible, namely primary school. Since many financial concepts include mathematics, it is essential that numeracy be part of any educational plan. Mainly, though, people need to be able to reason with logical consistency, use relevant data, and verified information in their decisions, avoiding rumor or emotion, and be able to detect fraud and misrepresentation. In sum, financial infrastructure is a key component to be able to have a fair and efficient financial system. Moreover, there are concrete ways to build out a financial infrastructure that supports trust in the financial system. And importantly, improving the financial literacy of the population will help ensure the investment in good infrastructure pays off by giving them the trust they need to interact in the financial system. So, financial education of the populace, the young, the old, the in-between, must go side by side with the development of the financial infrastructure for the infrastructure to be effective in the financial sector's ability to deliver methods of saving, investment, and growth in the economy. I know there are a lot of students in the audience, and the importance of educating yourself on financial topics can't be overstated. Regardless of whether the subject of your studies crosses into economics or finance or not. Everyone needs to have some knowledge of how to operate in today's financial world. Following the next panel discussion will be a presentation on how you can, I would say, leverage your assets, meaning your human capital assets, to further your formal education. I hope that whatever path you take, you will reach your potential and become a financially literate participant in your country. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to all of you today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cordres, for such insightful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, at the very beginning, she actually presented how trust is pivotal for an effective financial system. She particularly shed light on 4 aspects, and later on, she dug deeper further, and she presented her logic how the public and private sector in these 2 particular sectors, how trust is actually engaging everybody. And later on, she shed some light on the role of financial literacy among the mass people. Let's all give Dr. Cordres a huge round of applause for such discerning presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the very first panel discussion session. This event has been made possible through the initiative of JCI Dhaka North, with its active members like Mohammed Minhaj bin Salim, whose dedication to advancing economic discourse in our region has brought us together today. He will be the panel moderator for the very first session, and amongst us as panelists, we have Dr. Abdul Hanan Chaudhry, Professor, SB North-South University, former Dean NSU, and you all know that some of the guests will be joining via Zoom with us, and I'll be calling the name of the participants who will be joining via Zoom with us. First of all, we have Mr. Ifti Islam, then we have Mr. M.S. Siddiqui, and also, we will be having Mr. Najmul Hassan, Associate Professor of University of Dhaka, who will be joining via Zoom. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's start our panel discussion, session 1. Mr. Minhaj, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mohammed Minhaj bin Salim. I'm an active member at JCI Dhaka North. I have been in the financial domain of Bangladesh, financial sector. So from the very beginning, I have worked with HSBC, banks like HSBC and One Bank. Now I'm currently serving at a regulatory body of Bangladesh, Bangladesh financial sector. So today I'm glad that JCI North gave me the opportunity, allowing me to present here, initiate this program with with one of the best, I would say, brilliant mind of the world. She is none other than Dr. Laura E. Codres. She's a motherly figure to me. I am blessed to know her. We met we met at IMF, and since last it's been almost a year we are connected, and she's very kind to me, and she has always helped me with my scholarships and university application. And I hope we Bangladesh and Bangladeshi students and Bangladesh economy have lot to learn from her. And she is being a benevolent, and she is helping us in our progress. So, firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Laura. Then our distinguished. Then I'm going towards mentioning about our distinguished panelists. For example, we have Professor Chaudhary from Northside University. He has been instrumental in arranging this program. Actually, he has supported me all the way. Then we have online giant Ifti Islam. He is the chairman of Asian Tigers, and he's a graduate from the University of Oxford. Then we have the legal economist, MS Siddiqui sir. Siddiqui sir has also been supportive to me. He is a writer too, and he now and then gives me his books actually. And then my direct teacher, my faculty, he is Najmul sir. He's an associate professor at the University of Dhaka. And to explain. He was he stood first in all the exams of our university, and he is also a Commonwealth scholar. He did his master's from the University of Manchester. Last but not the least, probably with my domain, we have the MD sir of Chittagong Stock Exchange, Mr. Majumdar. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the session. We'll be exploring the developing opportunities for the country. For the very first, there is a request. Mr. Ifti, he has joined us from London, from the UK, and he needs to move on, and that's why instead of Handan sir is very kind, and he has requested that we should go to Ifti Bhai at the very beginning. So, Ifti Bhai, I believe you have watched Dr. Laura's presentation entirely, and I know you work with artificial intelligence, big data technologies, and you are a pioneer in digital transformation for the for the Bangladesh capital markets. So, I would like to hear your words on digital transformation. What do you visualize? What do you see for our country's capital market? Please spotlight. Please bring Ifti Bhai, unmute and give him the opportunity to share his words. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Ifti Bhai, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay,
Thank you.
Great. Well, good morning from London. It's 5:37 here. I think it's pretty late in the US and early in London. So thanks very much, everybody. And I'll speak for no longer than 10 minutes. Thank you, Laura, for a very interesting presentation. It laid out quite a structured framework for some of the challenges for developing countries and developing capital markets, financial systems like Bangladesh. I wanted to talk today about how technology and digital transformation can help to more rapidly develop Bangladesh's capital markets. These days, we're all seeing in the news ChatGPT, regenerative AI. AI itself is going through a huge boom globally, and I think that has very major implications for the financial sector globally, but also for Bangladesh and potentially for countries like Bangladesh. This may accelerate our financial sector development and financial sector inclusion. If we think about starting at a very macro level, there's been the issuance of several digital banking licenses in Bangladesh, and we're still at the very early stages of digital banking. There are, I saw a recent estimate in 2024, there are still 30 million people in Bangladesh who are unbanked. So the potential for digital banking to, or let's say the potential and also the benchmark for success of digital banking is, can it actually bring more of these unbanked into the formal financial system? So I think that that is something that's very important. I've written a paper on how digital banking, how the COVID crisis transformed digital banking. In interest of time today, I won't go through the banking sector in detail, and I'll focus more on capital markets. But technology is, they're obviously interrelated, and it's going to drive both. Moving to the capital markets, if we take again a step back and think about digital Bangladesh, this is the initiative that has been extremely successful, launched by the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina under the guidance of Honorable ICT Advisor Sajid Wadia Joy in 2009, and I think in many ways the digital Bangladesh story has been very successful, but somehow digital Bangladesh has not really benefited our capital markets, or has not really yet come through in our capital markets. I haven't seen the latest numbers, but the DSC mobile banking app was only 2-3 years ago when I was studying it, we had 50,000-60,000 daily customers. And Bangladesh itself has 1.7 million BO accounts out of a population of 170 million. So although, I mean, Bangladesh's participation of investors in Bangladesh's capital markets is extremely limited. So technology has a huge role and opportunity to play in bringing more investors into the capital markets. Particularly the DSC and BSEC allow the opening of the API, so now individual brokers can launch their own online trading systems, and that's begun, but in a very gradual way. To give you some statistics, in terms of the potential, if Bangladesh had the same number of online trading accounts as China as a proportion of population, we should have 20 million trading accounts in Bangladesh online. So that's the scale of the potential. So what we need to see in terms of technology is that a digital capital markets ecosystem develops, where we have fast, efficient online trading systems with improved customer experience. Secondly, we need to see more acceleration technology upgradation at the exchanges so trades can be executed quickly. A third element is that we see the adoption of the latest reg tech by BSEC and DSC for improved market surveillance. I know that BSEC has already taken some initiatives in using AI-based systems for market surveillance to improve market surveillance. The fourth area is integration of a digital payments banking system into fund management. And finally, technology innovation and financing, potentially using things like blockchain, is something that we could look at, and maybe, I don't know how much we'll have time to discuss today, maybe in a Q&A. So I think that's a very broad overview, but integrating that with AI, so many of you are familiar with ChatGPT, which is one of the more well-known large language models or regenerative AI systems. That's from OpenAI. Google is developing their own system with Gemini, Microsoft, and there are a number of large language models. And I think that will, again, since I wrote the Digital Capital Markets Report back in 2020, I published, or I did this research, and we presented it to BSEC as well. Since then, technology has moved, and particularly AI has moved extremely quickly. And I think that ChatGPT and those kinds of systems is again going to be potentially transformative if effectively implemented in Bangladesh. So you can imagine eventually we'll end up having a personal AI financial assistant. So a retail or any investor, retail or institutional, will actually be able to ask your AI personal financial assistant questions about what's happening in the stock market, what's happening in economic and market news, what's happening in stocks. And in fact, the AI assistant will proactively be telling you what is happening with the stocks that are relevant, even what stock you should be buying. So we'll see the evolution of robo-advisors as well. So I think that in terms of market information, market transparency, market governance through RegTech, I think that AI is going to have and technology more broadly is going to have a big impact potentially on Bangladesh. I think that the very close collaboration between the regulator, BSEC, and the Dhaka Stock Exchange, the Chittagong Stock Exchange, and also market players, the brokers and the banks, and the asset managers, that's going to be very, very important. We can learn a lot from global best practice. And actually, global best practice, I think there's an opportunity for Bangladesh to leapfrog existing legacy systems. So we should be ambitious in Bangladesh about how technology can transform our capital markets. We shouldn't, we've seen technology leapfrogging with mobile phones, and we can see something similar in Bangladesh if we're sufficiently ambitious. I'll just end in the interest of time in the last minute by saying, give you one scenario about how can we get to 20 million active traders. I said in my 2020 report that we should aim for 5 million new retail investors within 5 years with a focused digital capital markets transformation project. And I should also mention I was the advisor to Shenzhen and Shanghai Stock Exchange when they invested 25% in Dhaka Stock Exchange. So I work very closely with Shenzhen Stock Exchange. And I still think there's a lot of potential for us to leverage and deepen our technology partnership and collaboration with Shenzhen and Shanghai Stock Exchange as part of that 25% strategic investor partnership. But again, just finishing off on a relevant story in just 1 minute. I think that you can imagine in the next few years a world where a rickshaw driver is going to be an active investor in Bangladesh stock market. Now, how does a rickshaw driver or a tea stall? Let me take the rickshaw driver as an example. If we get the digital banking revolution is implemented in Bangladesh effectively, and say a rickshaw driver has a digital wallet and linked to a bank account, and he's earning, let's say we can preset some targets. So if he earns more than a certain amount per day, the money is automatically scooped from his digital banking wallet into investment into the stock market. It may be investment into mutual funds, and some of his excess earnings or his excess savings for the day could be invested into insurance or health insurance and other kinds of insurance. So you could have some of his, rather than cash-based transactions, once things move digital, the rickshaw driver can automatically save some money into his bank account, some money could go into his mutual fund, some money could go into health insurance. So thinking outside the box in that way, you can actually see how in the next few years there's potential for a significant expansion in the number of investors in Bangladesh stock market. There are other ways that technology can also help to facilitate issuance in the capital markets and also to engage international investors more effectively. We only have, I think, less than 1% of Bangladesh's stock market is held by foreigners, compared to 10% in Pakistan, 30% in India, 40% in Sri Lanka. So I think technology can play a role there as well. But with, again, given that there are a number of other very eminent speakers on the panel, to make sure that they have time to speak, let me stop there. I don't know if there is a Q&A session, but hopefully we'll have some time to explore some of these questions further. With that, thank you, and let me hand it back to the moderator.
Clap. Thank you, Ifti Bhai. It's been very enlightening, and thanks for joining us all the way from the UK. We will be again and again joining you in this sort of program. We'd love to hear your words, and you are doing great. Thank you very much for joining with us. Now I would like to invite Siddiq sir to unmute and share his words within 5 to 7 minutes, because we are running in a very tight schedule. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for inviting me, although I could not attend physically. Engagement. My daughter is supposed to go abroad today, so I'm busy with her departure. I've gone through I've listened to Dr. Laura. She was focusing on the financial system, share market, and others. Very interestingly, she started with the monetary policy of the central bank. Okay. So, the monetary policy, she already explained that it's to control the inflation and stabilize the currency rate, value of the currency. Okay. So, at present moment, Bangladesh is going through a very high inflation, and our currency is very unstabilized. Value is reducing day to day. For last 2 years, we are facing problem of foreign exchange reserve. It is depleting day by day, and somehow the government trying to stabilize it and initiated the process of fixing the currency exchange rate by crawling peg. And I believe it will give some dividend. Also, we need a judicial decision from the policymakers. Unfortunately, the policymakers in central bank are bureaucrats, not the economists. So I am afraid they can wrongly fix the price. If the middle price of crawling peg is wrong, then we'll again suffer. But till today, I think very slowly situation is improving. And when you have interestingly mentioned that the central bank should report to the government, not listen to them. Unfortunately, if you look into the real situation, central bank is theoretically independent, but they are listening to government advice. So naturally, when a political government take a decision of a economist and frame the policy for the central bank or guide the central bank, then there are always some risk. So we shall have to look into that in Bangladesh and practice the hand over the responsibility of central bank and or the policy making position to the economist, not only to the traditional bankers or the brokers. That is a major drawback in our country, and we shall have to look into that. And you have touched the point of SME. Very interestingly, we all love SME. But if you look into the documents, the policy papers, the policy is not very regressive to SME because the lending policy, especially the lending policy, is always favoring the big companies, not the SMEs. And for the financing of SME trading or their business, working capital is very difficult for them to obtain credit. And also, if you look into the taxation policy, it is also regressive for the SMEs. Say, for example, if I cite an example, there is a system of advance income tax deduction from the supply. So when a SME used to supply some components, some raw materials to a big industry, they are obliged to deduct 5% advance income tax on gross bill. That is on gross sale. If you calculate there are many experts here. if you calculate this impact of this 5% advance tax, it is no less than 40% net profit. So can you imagine a small SME is making 40% profit, although they are giving 40% of the share of their profit to the national exchequer. It is a standard policy, no exception for the SMEs. There are many other regressive policy. I don't want to mention that. And interestingly, when you go to the stock exchange, our stock exchange have many challenges. Primarily, if you look into the share, suddenly if you look into the balance sheet or financial statement of the company for 10 years, you will be surprised that one company is making loss, then suddenly it became profitable for consecutive 3 years. Then they come to the share market and sell their, launch their share in the market. And do you know the premium price of a share? The face value of a share is 10 taka, but they fix the price. Security Exchange Commission, they approve the price at 100 taka. So 1000% higher price. Then interestingly, they don't make profit. After float, taking the money from the share market, they became again a losing concern. And another problem is the information. You know, you are talking about the education and information of the investors. Very interestingly, the basic concept of the investor in our country, they are not looking at the dividend, unfortunately, because when they buy a share of 10 taka at 100 taka, so even if they get the 100% premium of their profit, then not premium, dividend, then it will be actually the 10% of the actual investment. So the investors is mainly focusing on resale of the shares. Very interestingly, they are not interested in dividend. And it is their mindset because dividend is very difficult to, they are not dividend is very rare. Not rare. Most of the company is not giving the due dividend. Now, then the problem arises, mindset of the investors prompted the market manipulators to take advantage of this situation. And if you go through the daily newspaper for last 1 year, you will find the very small news that the closed down companies, production shut down. They are not making profit, but suddenly the share price started going up without any reason or any valid ground. Maybe on the basis of rumor or on the basis of the technically manipulation, making a situation, creating a situation that this company is very promising. So everybody rushed to buy their shares. And the manipulators sell their share and ran away. So these are the problem we are facing in our country. Information system is very poor and not trustworthy. Insider trading, I already told you. And so government is trying to improve the situation. You know, this month, the Prime Minister has instructed to take the public sector big industries or some service sector industries. You have also mentioned about we have the natural gas or electricity companies. Those are really very big companies. Prime Minister wants them instructed them to arrange to bring them to the share market so that they can trade it in the market and become efficient in administration as well. So there is lacking of good companies, good share to purchase. But unfortunately, if you monitor the information, the news or the rumor, even if you look into listen to the rumors, you cannot match why the price of one company is going up another company is going down. When you talk
Sir,
about
I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but can you just a bit other speakers, and we have a deadline to finish it by 12. So can
okay,
you, sir, finish it within a minute or so? Thank you, sir. And
okay,
sorry for the timing.
only 2 points. She talk about the code of conduct. I don't think we have any code of conduct, or even we don't care about the code of conduct. And whistleblower, if we everybody knows what is going on in the market, but nobody take the risk of becoming a whistleblower. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, and thank you, sir. And I want to announce a very good news. We have our own national president for 2024 JCI. He is the director at the Daily Star. He is none other than Imran Kadir Bhai. Please have a big round of applause for Imran Kadir Bhai. Thank you, Bhai, for joining us. With your permission, I would like to continue and then have your speech. Thank you, Bhai. Thanks for coming. Now, my own sir, from whom I learned, it is Nazmul Hassan, sir. Since I'm running a very tight schedule, sir, can you kindly please enlighten us within 5 minutes the calculation of NPL, since you are an expert in this domain, and also the merger that is currently a hot topic. So you can speak on this too. And in addition, Siddiq sir, the way he said that about the independence of central bank and who should report to whom, who should listen to whom. Can you please share some light within 5 to 7 minutes, actually? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's really great to see Dr. Iftiba is here, who happened to be my former colleague at a board of a Phoenix Insurance Company Limited, and also Professor Hanan sir is here also. So good morning, everyone. I would like to shed some light on the current state of the NPL in the context of our banking industry. As we all know, there has been a ongoing debate regarding the right calculation of the non-performing loan. As per the Bangladesh Bank's official statistic or the financial stability report of every year, it is currently shown that it is around 150,000 crore taka, which is actually, I believe this is not the true picture, because every banks and non-bank financial institutions, while actually presenting their true state of the non-performing loan, they try to actually underestimate those amounts, just because if they show the higher amount of the non-performing loan or the bad assets, they have to keep a higher rate of the provision, and that provision actually kills the rate of the profit or the net profit they make, and which creates a huge pressure on the top management, especially on the part of the goal statement they have been given, on the part of the targets they have been given, because their shareholders or the board of directors, they are always interested about how much profit they generate in a particular fiscal year, and that's why there is always a tendency to underestimate the bad assets that the bank or non-bank financial institutions they are facing with. And that's why I believe there has been a debate in terms of the IMF has said that the current state of the bad assets is none less than actually 400,000 crore taka, which almost, I would say, almost 3 times of the official statistics that has been reflected in the financial statements. So I believe this situation has been for a long time, actually, more than even the decade. Our banking industry have been going through a very tough phase. And if there is no political will from the current government in terms of actually dealing with those non-performing loans, I don't think that there will be any improvement of the situations, because we know there are certain groups, those who are actually they're they're controlling almost 9 to 11 banks. This is totally unacceptable. As an academician, I don't see the logic, I don't see the actually background. So why a certain group should allow 9 to 11 banks under their ownership, and which facilitates them, actually, which gives them the control to manipulate the activities of the banks, and also extend those funds, those critical funds to their firms. Those are actually sick, or they are not eligible to actually get those loans. So I believe the Bangladesh Bank has also has its important role in terms of actually exercising the rule of law. Because as mentioned by the Professor Laura, she has rightly and I would say brilliantly actually portrayed the whole scenario of our current banking industry. So we need the independence of the Bangladesh Bank, because as you know that the many of the decisions nowadays actually come through the FID, financial institution divisions. This is one kind of, I would say, this is the interference from the division actually violates the independence of the Bangladesh Bank, and they are not actually being able to actually impart the decisions the industry, the economy needs currently. So apart from that, there is an ongoing another issue which is the merger and acquisitions of the poor banks with the stable banks. I think what Bangladesh Bank did actually was not right. If you consider the case of the Basic Bank, you see the Basic Bank has been announced to be actually merged with another private commercial banks. After the announcement, what happened? As you know, the Basic Bank is actually a problem bank. They're running out of the huge liquidity crisis. And among all these problems, their majority of the institutional deposits has been withdrawn by the public organization and public institution, those who are having a huge amount of the deposits, and also the general public out of the pressure, out of the fear that this bank might be amalgamated or merged by another private bank. So those depositors has actually withdrawn the fund. And now the Bangladesh Bank said, or the board of the two banks said that they are not merging with each other. And as a result, ultimately, what the consequences the Basic Bank management is facing, they're facing that there is a huge liquidity crunch. And I believe the Bangladesh Bank should now actually help the Basic Bank to resolve this problem, because the bank, it's a bank not itself, rather the Bangladesh Bank has created or exacerbated the whole situations. So I think in terms of the merger and acquisitions, there has been I would say, because merger and acquisition takes almost 1 to 3 years or more than that, because you need to actually evaluate all the assets and liabilities in terms of the market values. You need to actually recruit the professional firms who will value your assets and liabilities, and then you can actually, two boards can come together.
Sir, 1 minute, please, sir. Thank you, sir. 1 minute.
So I'd say those decisions were very hectic, very surprising for me, and they should have been made more cautious and more actually more. They should be more cautious regarding the decisions or any decisions they declare to the press. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. It's been enlightening and very important topics you have covered with your wise. We all are enlightened, and these are the facts. These are the problems we need to resolve in our economy. Thank you, sir. Give round of applause for sir and all the online guests, because with this we are over of online session. Now we move forward towards the in-person guests, like Professor Dr. Hanan sir from North South University. He has been dean there for 3 times. He was a VC and a provost in 2 other universities, and he served in North American universities for long. Sir, please share your views on today's theme. Thank you, sir. Within 5 to 7 minutes, sir.
No, I'm not going to be that long, actually. Thank you very much, first of all, for having me also in this very thought-provoking sessions that was, introduced by Laura D. Cordres with her presentations on starting on emphasizing on the trust, and she has also tried to cover the central bank issues, how central bank should actually run as an independent entity. I think today's discussions, all the panelists have actually enriched us in terms of the, issues in regards to the central bank's, role, and both private and public sector roles. And then eventually when, Ifti Islam came, actually, he was also emphasizing heavily on the technology part, that, well, technology, how AI and other things can also transform the Bangladeshi stock market to a standard one, where he's actually envisioning that, well, 20 million active traders should be there. The other presenters, like, Mr. Siddiqui has also gave us huge, he talks about the challenges that central banks and also the other sort of operations that we're having over here. Professor Nazmul has also mentioned the the current situation of the banking sector in terms of the non-performing loans, and also how merger and acquisitions going on, and all those things are actually imposed, acquisitions and merger, whatever we say, that is happening in our country. I would like to talk about that, well, because the session was actually developing, development of opportunities in emerging economies, how we being as a country like Bangladesh are going to emerge in the economic front without a landscape, without an ecosystem of a very good industrial sector. That's what is my concern, that, well, the country is yet not being able to actually create an atmosphere for entrepreneurs to even start their businesses so ease of doing business is something very important for Bangladesh to actually help out the entrepreneurs. And then in line with the global goals, Bangladesh has to align everything so that actually the industries are going to grow and they're going to do ethical businesses, and in regards to addressing even the issues of the carbon emissions, because we all truly want to see that, well, eventually we're going to touch the sustainable development aspect of the global target that we are targeting to. Bangladesh is yet to way too far actually from that aspect in terms of the emissions and all sort of regulatory issues in regards to even following the accounting sustainability report that IFRS also has given, especially for a country like Bangladesh to follow even for a standard 1 and a standard 2 as a beginner. Yet our financial reports are not, I would say that, well, transparent, nor even they are accurate. Sometimes for some of the organizations, they are deceiving the informations. So they, I would say that, well, huge things to work in the industry front so that we can actually see an ecosystem of doing businesses are going to be there in regards to address of the all sort of environmental issues and climate issues due to the effect of industry part actually in regards to this. So carbon market and carbon trading is something that is very important. That's why I would say that, well, from today's discussion at the very beginning from Laura was actually emphasizing that financial literacy is something very important. I, being academician, I am not a finance guy nor even an economist. I am actually doing very mathematical things in the business school from the operations management and part. So uh, my suggestions should be emphasizing the country as a whole to take policies in regards to aligning things from industry to setting up all this industrial ecosystem, so that even eventually we're going to go to in the front line of doing global business from the BSEC as well as the stock exchange, so that people can participate in the business also and support the industries to grow. So I would say that, well, huge opportunities for us, and sustainability reporting, this kind of knowledge, yet even in the schools, in the business school, we are not giving those sort of terminologies to learn by the young generation of business graduates. They don't actually understand that how carbon trading is going on, what are the essence of carbon markets actually, how do people buy, trade and sell carbon credits, and what are the issues in regards to the operation side of an industry, so that they can take the benefit. There are enormous opportunity for Bangladesh to even to earn $1 billion from going or entering into the carbon market. And because the European Union and the global market, there are buy, sell and trade, it is possible if an industrial setup we actually follow in regards to the guidelines of the the global bodies, and our emission and also reduction of the carbon reductions. If we follow those things, I'm sure that, well, we are going to also indirectly benefit
in other aspect. So as a whole, with all discussions from a stock market to central bank operations, the banking operations, and also ease of doing business for general entrepreneurs to grow, because otherwise the country is not going to be able to emerge in the, although we do have that potentials to be, grow very fast and quick, because we are there. This is our turn to actually, to take the advantage of the global economic shift. And I'm sure that, well, being Bangladesh as a growing, fastest growing economic, country, we should follow those things. In the regulatory part, country has to do enormous work, because this is what all sort of regulatory problems. I think all the panelists have actually mentioned this thing, that our regulations and law-abiding people and ethical practices in business, which is something very important for us, and we are way too far in terms of all sort of ethical practices doing while we are actually doing or transacting the businesses. So my suggestion would be that, well, our young generations, young entrepreneurs, they must try to understand the terminology of doing business in the global scale, and then obviously also we follow the rules, regulation, and we are expecting the government is going to actually work on heavily on all those failures that we have seen in the banking and other financial sectors, and once we can overcome then those things, we would be able to run in a sustainable manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Please have a big round of applause, sir. I really appreciate your thoughts. The way we are moving to become a developed country, development should not come at the cost of our environment. Currently, IFRS, the way you mentioned, S1, S2 will be implemented by 2025 for Bangladesh. We have CSEMD sir here. He may be able to shed some light how public listed companies are considering it. As the multinationals, probably the multinationals will be the front runner in implementing those. In addition, sir, you also mentioned about the carbon credit policies and trading and buy and sale, which have been in place in developed countries since 1990s or so. So as we want to move forward towards becoming a developed country, you have rightly picked that we need to consider these policies, and we need to have our voices actively raised in the COP, so we can get those, because we are getting affected with for the emission of other countries. If we see that external impact on our country is larger than our internal impacts of carbon emission. So thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your valuable words. Now I have around 5 minutes for Mr. Majumdar, sir. Majumdar, sir, has been a very vital and prominent personality in the financial sector of Bangladesh. He has been, in my eyes, he's one of the best personalities in the domain of capital market. I have learned from him when he served in Dhaka Stock Exchange in the C-suite. Now he's the MD, and in the MD at Chittagong Stock Exchange. And he's leading the Bangladesh first ever commodity exchange in collaboration where our country is one of the largest conglomerate, Basuntara Group's concern called ABG Limited has also joined. So we would like to know what are the prospects commodity exchange has in Bangladesh, and what is our plan, when we're gonna launch it, how much technologically we are ready, what are the infrastructural changes or developments so far we have, and how long to go, what Bangladesh has, and how it gonna revolutionize the commodity market in Bangladesh, and what are the products we will be initially launching on. And that's it, sir. So please enlighten us. You may go up to 7 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, it is an interesting session. I'd like to not to use the term problems, rather using it as challenges, in fact. Just if I would like to quote from the presentation of Dr. Laura A. Kudris. Actually, she nicely mentioned some pillars, particularly 4 pillars. And one of the important issue was legal structures and trust. If we talk on the financial structure of any country, then the one of the important pillar is legal structure. Why legal structure? Legal structure is to ensure transparency and to build trust among the participants, market players. And in our financial structure, if we talk on the capital market, the regulatory structure is actually supervised by Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission, and in the financial market, it is supervised by the central bank. So the challenge is actually, Iftibai was talking about use of technology in our country. It is true, we have to adopt technologies and we are behind. But still, my perception is we have to ensure a transparent regulatory structure, which is very important. We have to consider side by side with the technological issues. Some of the panelists already mentioned about the disclosure system of different listed companies. Actually, Dr. Laura was also mentioning the disclosure challenges, disclosure of financial statements. In fact, in our country still, we are facing financial disclosure system, financial reporting system. It's a great challenge for us. Even if we talk on the development of SME, actually it's a big issue, but my perception is very important challenge is disclosure system. In our corporate sector, we are facing huge challenges even in case of financial reporting of large companies. Then it is obvious then what will be the status of small and medium companies. In terms of capital market, we have a small cap board, but still we are not getting quality financial statements for judgment and to ensure transparency in the market. So in development of capital market, in addition to the development of technology or adopting the technology, definitely we have to revisit and check the regulatory structure first to ensure proper justice, to ensure credibility, trust among the participants. This is one issue. And at the same time, if we talk on the development of financial structure, one of the speakers was mentioning, emphasizing the NPL of banks and financial institutions. So there are many issues that actually we are facing challenges we have to resolve to ensure a sound financial system. So financial system development is one issue, then capital market development, at the same time, the taxation issue. The policymakers need to address to have a sound tax GDP ratio. There is very minimum at our country. So our NBR, they are emphasizing to collect revenue even without giving a particular policy direction for development of particular sector. In the capital market, we need specific policy support.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, sir, but we have 2 minutes because
Okay,
Laura
just-
will be getting back.
Okay. So it's actually all these are integrated issues, coordinated issues. We have to consider to ensure a sound regulatory structure. Then at the same time, we have to adopt technology. And regarding the development of a commodity exchange for the first time, Chittagong Stock Exchange is emphasizing to establish a commodity derivatives for the first time in Bangladesh. We have already submitted the technological requirements, and our plan to start is at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year with some metal products like gold and silver. And at the same time, we are also focusing on ensuring or taking the crude palm oil. Actually, our intention is to prove a commodity market in the country. And if we can successfully implement the commodity derivatives transaction, then gradually our plan is to adopt other products, and even some agricultural products can also be included. We are very much hopeful that it will create an important avenue not only in the capital market and also in the economy, so that a different dimension will come in the asset classes of the exchanges. And we are also trying to implement derivatives in the first part of the next year. So we are hopeful that these additions will give a clear direction, or some definitely some new areas which are being transacted some other neighboring countries of our country. So hopefully these will add value in the capital market and also in the economy. So thank you again. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I think within a few minutes it's very difficult to explain all the issues, but still I'm grateful for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. With this, actually, I would like to call off our first session, but now again, Dr. Laura will come and she will share her views on how it was, the discussion and all.
So thank you very much. It was a very enlightening discussion. I learned a lot in a very short period of time about Bangladesh and its challenges. And the first thing I would like to just comment on is that these challenges are shared by many other countries. You know, maybe when you're inside a country, you look at your own country and you say, there's too many things that need to be solved. There are so many issues that are in front of us in terms of proceeding with our development. It seems very challenging, very difficult. But there are many countries that are facing many of these same challenges. The second thing I want to note is that with the development of technology, there is an opportunity for many low and developing countries to leapfrog various parts of the development process. There are many countries that are advanced that are having a lot of difficulty integrating technology into their financial systems because the degree of legacy technology that's sitting there is very difficult to transform into something that's now productive. And I wasn't going to go into this a lot, but T+1 is starting, like momentarily in the US. And there has been a very long process of trying to get people on board to clear and settle equities on a very short time schedule. And it wasn't that long ago, it was T+5, and then T+3, and then T+2, and now finally T+1. But the reason for this slow development of a country that's considered very technologically advanced is due to these legacy issues. And this is a common problem in the banking sector. It's a common problem in the securities system. It's a common problem in accounting systems. So it's across the board. Having said that, if one hasn't committed too much to these legacy systems, there is an opportunity to move very quickly. And I would call out the payment system as one of those areas that can move very quickly. The fact that mobile phones are distributed very fast, are very intelligent now, means that payment systems, and your country is in fact one of those countries that has implemented payment systems, mobile payment systems in a form that can move very fast. So yes, technology can and should be used. It needs to be used carefully. Cannot be used flippantly. It needs to have security in the background. There needs to be privacy concerns. There needs to be encryption. These things are not completely risk-free. In fact, there is no technology system that's risk-free, but at least it does move things more efficiently and can be used effectively. My second point is that we've emphasized a lot today on equity markets. and bringing equity markets to the retail customer. And I would caution here a little bit that without good financial education, use of equity markets is potentially someplace where it could backfire. And the reason I say this is because equity is the only product where you can actually lose everything, right? An equity price can go to zero. Bond prices, they promise you something in return. Even in a default, there's usually some money that you get back as a bondholder. But an equity holder can literally lose everything. And so it's one of those investments that is not meant for people that don't have a deep pocket and that can afford to take losses. And the idea that one would want that to be the first introduction to financial markets is it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous. So I think this is where financial education comes in. Diversified pools of savings, and they start maybe with something that's very simple. You have a wallet, and some of it goes into government bonds. Some of it goes into insurance, as one of our panelists mentioned. So into something that is at least a little bit more understandable and a little bit safer for those that are using it at the bottom of the income stream. And my last comment is just, I think I want to emphasize that without the rule of law, without laws, without regulations, there's really not going to be a trust in the system. And if there's not recourse, this is the other issue, right, that is kind of behind the surface, is consumer protection is very, very important. As soon as people are burned, they're not coming back unless they get some sort of recourse that they are convinced that at some point they will either get their money back if they were cheated, they can use the system with some cautionary tale, where they now know what their mistake was and now they won't make that mistake again. But consumer protection is hugely important. As soon as people lose trust, it is a very uphill battle to try to regain it. So those would be my three points that I would take away from the general discussion. I really enjoyed listening to all of the nuances that Bangladesh has, and I learned a lot in the last actually 48 hours, but certainly even within the last hour. And I appreciate all of your input. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cordres, for your comments and your presence all along from the USA. We hope to find you again and again and enlightening us, guide us to the right path, to the path of development. Thank you for joining us. And with this, I would like to thank everyone present here, like Najmul sir, Ifti bhai, Dr. Hannan sir, Mr. Majumdar. This session is here. This session ends here. Thank you, everyone. Now, Tori will move forward. Thank you, Tori.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Minhaj, and thank you to our honorable panelists, and especially to Dr. Cordres for addressing each of the issues. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Najmul Hassan, my respected teachers from Dhaka University, and my former colleague, Ifti Bhai, for joining with us. And also thank you, Mr. Siddiqui, for joining with us virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, all of the aficionados who were present here today, be it physically or virtually, they were talking about financial literacy, education, why it's important, why people should know how financial literacy impacts us overall as a nation in an economy. So to make that path easier for all of you, since one of the respected panelists were talking about that there is a young demography of young people, there is a young demography we've got in Bangladesh, so they're always inquisitive about the roadmap and they want to get guidance regarding how they can pursue higher education. So for that, we have designed our next panel discussion session, which will again be conducted by none other than Mr. Mohammad Minhaj bin Salim, Board of Directors, JCI Dhaka North, BBA and MBA from University of Dhaka. Mr. Minhaj, over to you once again.
Thank you, Tori. Can I have my presentation, please? Thank you very much. Today we'll be talking about roadmap for scholarships and funding. We are actually three speakers here. Dr. Rizwan Al-Aziz, he's a assistant professor from BUET, and Dr. Nafiza Mahmood, she is also an assistant professor from BUET. I have been informed by them they may not be able to attend since they have other urgent engagements in BUET. So if they come in online or if they are available in online, we may hear from them. Before that, I'll be heading as a speaker here. So education, in the previous session, we are talking about financial literacy. Without literacy, we can't, even if we make lots of policies, we can't even implement them. Because without knowledge, you can't understand what you are doing. That is happening in our capital markets, because without being financially literate, if you invest and you lose, that is actually your responsibility. You should educate yourself with financial literacy program. Then you should come to the market. Then I believe you can make profit undoubtedly, because in capital market is for long term. It's not for short term gain. It's not for day trade. There is day trading, but day trading is not suitable for everyone. There is the scalpers in developed countries who trade for microseconds, but those are not suitable for my country. My country needs education. My country needs financially literate people. Without literacy, if we go to invest, we are actually putting our hand in a fire. So we need to educate ourselves. So with that notion, with the guidance of Dr. Laura, I want to share that I am currently unconditionally admitted to Michigan State University to pursue MS Finance with partial funding and potential opportunity for RA-ship. And I'm also shortlisted for one of the top scholarships from the country. And at the same time, I'm also admitted to the University of Edinburgh, University of Bristol, University of Leeds, with one of the top scholarship in the world, where acceptance rate is only 1 to 2%. So with that notion, I want to help people all over the country, because from our country, if I go for, I'm not naming any scholarship, but if I see the rates of acceptance, it's quite low in comparison to India or even Pakistan. But if we compare our economy to Pakistan, we are far more better. We have graduates, excellent graduates from excellent institutions. I'm not naming any specific name. So where they are going, why they are not getting those? Why there are more from India, from Pakistan, from Nepal? Why? Because I was rejected 3 times in a scholarship. 3 times I attempted, and this time I was not even considering to apply. That I was rejected 3 times, right? And the acceptance rate is only 1% from the entire world. Then I revisited my essays, and I found that my profile is very good, but I was not getting selected. So I researched what are the things I need to put on my SOP to make it a standout among the crowd. So I have both the rejected SOP and the accepted SOP. Today I won't be delving into details, but I will be in future. In future, with JCI Bangladesh and JCI Dhaka North,
we'll be definitely arranging this sort of events again and again. What today I'm going to talking about is opportunities. At first, we need to be aware of the opportunities we have. The opportunities we can, after becoming aware, we can explore those. So my next slide, I'm going to my next slide now. Okay, firstly, it's one of the top scholarships in the world. It's called Fulbright Program USA. In Fulbright, they offer STEM programs and programs ranging from public policy and all, economics, finance, tech. So for the development of Bangladesh, we need tech graduates, we need public policy makers, we need economists and whatnot. So it's very important that we understand what Fulbright takes to get selected. And every year Fulbright opens during April or so, and it closes on March 30th, so deadline is approaching. It's not that difficult to understand. You go to Fulbright US Embassy Bangladesh website, and then you log in, create account, and pretty much all the scholarships asks us the same thing, what you have done. And what we make it wrong, that we copy and paste our job description from the CV. And copying and pasting job description means nothing. It means you have achieved nothing. You need to show what you have achieved, how far have you made impact. For example, I'm just giving an example. Previously, I wrote, I have developed this policy, this, I have attended this, and all. But I haven't mentioned with that policy how many people, how millions of people, how thousands of companies were benefited. But this time, what I did is, I mentioned everything. What was the impact? I was one of the co-founder of one of the largest tech companies in the country, e-commerce companies in the country. So previously when I was rejected, I mentioned that I'm a co-founder, I did this, I collaborated with developers from abroad, and I made this. This time I showed that I collaborated with them, and what was the impact? How many people were impacted? How many people got jobs? What was the impact? How many clients were satisfied? How we redesigned the website and what was the result? So that's what I'm trying to focus, that you don't need to not only write the job description's words, rather explain how it was impactful, what was the result. First, you need to write what you did, number one. How you did. If it was a team, who were there for you? If you work with some high-profile, high-up people, like I worked with a lot of high-ups in the country, so I mentioned about them as well, that I was in guidance or I was in collaboration, I was in the same team, I was in the same committee with some high-ups. So that shows credibility, that shows reliability, that you are someone who is credible, who is trusted by the high-ups or the civil society of the country. So these are the things, pretty basics, that you need to cover. If you do not have that level of CV, join some organizations like JCI. JCI is a global platform. JCI has given me a lot of things. And now I'm connected with people from all over the world. I'm connected with more than 50 people, 50 countries people. Now I also got selected to one of the programs from JCI Mongolia, where out of 200,000 people, they chose only 66 people in all over the world. And from Asia, only 9 people were selected. And from Bangladesh, only 1 was selected. And I was able to be that person. Why? Because I made my CV impactful. I showed how in 1 or 2 page how impactful my work had been. And I was pretty sure when I was submitting it that I was pretty sure if I might get selected. When I got selected, I was not even surprised. I was like, it's a very normal program. But when people were congratulating me, reaching me out, I was like, is it something very exclusive? They were like, yes, it is exclusive. I don't know, because I am very newcomer. I joined JCI only 2 months. With the recommendation of Imran Qadir Bhai, he actually recommended me to join. And I'm really grateful to him. And with this program, my mentor is from Suriname, so I'm learning from him. His name is Mr. Jason. Mr. Jason is a very nice person, and he's also. For this program, I have also informed the global president, Mr. Kevin, and the general secretary of JCI. So they are also in loop. And JCI is also globally, the members of JCI all over the world are also participating in this program. There are many people all over the world. So this is also an impactful event. So I can, in future, in my SOP, I can mention about this. This is the reason you should join organizations like JCI to have impactful event and make your CV stand out, make your profile stand out. If you do not join this sort of organization, or if you do not get involved with this sort of activities, you can't enrich your CV. Only having a good CGPA or a good GRE is not going to ensure, or a good IELTS is never going to ensure your admission to global programs like the one at Michigan State University. That is very competitive. There is only a faculty to student ratio is only 1:1. My GRE score is not out of the world. It's average. My IELTS score is above average. I mean, it's good. I would say it's good. But I believe what made me go there is my SOP, because those are the criteria to be able to assess your applications. But how your application stand out depends on your story, because your CGPA is not going to create the impact. Your initiative is going to create the impact. If your CGPA is not going to say that you are doing impactful work, your CGPA is only going to say that you are someone serious person. You do work seriously, but impactful work and serious work are not the same thing. So with that, I would like to move to the next program, the One Chevening Scholarship. It is a British government scholarship. It will be opened, I believe, by August or so. And you will have a time period of 2 to 3 months to apply in it. And you can actually study in any of the British university, any program. Most of them are listed, I believe, as I have applied to them quite a number of times. So I have a plan to take a session on a specifically Chevening scholarship when it will be opened. So my country's students can apply and understand what it takes to become a Chevener, or what it takes to get selected, or at least get shortlisted. Okay. Then we have Commonwealth Scholarship, which then again, Commonwealth Scholarship is also offered to university teachers and from a diverse sector of people. So I will be covering on Commonwealth as well when I'll be covering UK, both the UK one. Then the Erasmus Mundus. It is a very interesting one, because with Erasmus Mundus, mostly people go to 2 to 3 or 4 countries to pursue a single master. For example, you will be studying in France 1 semester, another semester in Germany, another semester in another European country. So it's very lucrative one. So you get connected with people from different countries, and you get to know cultures of different countries. And the application is very simple. It's basically you need to apply to the universities and also to the Erasmus Mundus. I have also gone through the process. So I would like to take a session on that as well. So there will be 2 to 3 sessions because this year Fulbright is almost over. I would like to take a UK one and the US Mundus one. So, in addition, there is 2 more things that I would like to touch on. One is your CV. Your CV, people, at first I had a CV of 6 pages, but that was not even impactful because when I failed, my CV was 6 pages. When I got selected, my CV was only 1 page. But someone named Dr. Tariq, he is a faculty at at Jahangirnagar University, and he is a visiting faculty at University of Cambridge, University of Oxford, and University of Harvard. When he looked through my CV, he said that in this 1 page, you have mentioned everything that you have done in your so far in your career, so far in your education. So be short and precise, be impactful. If you are creating impact, you don't need to have 5 or 6 page CV because the professors are very busy. They are not even going to look your 5 or 6 page CV that I was creating previously. And this time in Michigan State University, my CV was only 1 page and it was impactful. So I would like to take a session on, I would like to cover about the CV writing and all skills. And I would be sharing my CV as well. So people can understand how it can be impactful. That's pretty much, I would say, that's pretty much from my end for today. But before I leave, I would like to thank few people who have always been supportive in my journey, in my arrangement of today's program. For example, my brother, Mr. Asif bin Salim, he has come from the London to attend this seminar to make it success. He helped me with day and night. He worked with me. I'm really thankful to Shafina Tori. She has been kind. She arranged she's very busy. She's very busy. She is engaged in a lot of, she's in corporate world. She's in media. She's doing a lot of work. But she's a junior to my university. So she kindly considered me to have. I'm really thankful, Tori. Then Yasbir Bhai. I'm really thankful because you are the only one whom no matter what time I called you, no matter whatsoever I wanted from you, you were always there for me. I mean, the moment you entered, you took the steer, I had 2 hands. I was working with 1 hand. Last but not the least, it's Lamia. Lamia Shampriti. Shampriti, if Shampriti was not there, I may not be today here, actually. She took all the pain to invite everyone, to collaborate, to inform everyone. And she was there for me. She even visited this place with me. And she even identified some mistakes, so we could correct it today. And this session is nice. Shamriti, thank you very much. And she was very kind enough that she was introducing her as a PS of mine. So she's not a PS of mine. Please be minded. She's I would say she's one of the most talented and brilliant person I have ever worked with. I would like to work with you, actually. Thank you very much. With this, I would like to call first Imran Qadir Bhai. Please share your words. And after that, our Yasbir Bhai will do the ending. Please come forward and have a big round of applause for our Imran Qadir Bhai.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমি আসলে শুনতে আসছি কারণ আজকে যে 2টা টপিক আমার নিজের খুব পছন্দের টপিক। ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল মার্কেট আমার খুব ইন্টারেস্টেড জায়গা। আর স্কলারশিপ আমি নিজে কখনো অ্যাপ্লাই করি নাই, বাট আসলে ওকে দেখে আমি দেখলাম যে ও অনেকগুলো স্কলারশিপ পেয়েছে, বারবার অনেক ইনথুসিয়াজম নিয়ে অ্যাপ্লাই করে। আমি শুনেছি যে অনেক ইয়াং অডিয়েন্স থাকবে, সো আই ওয়াজ ভেরি ইন্সপায়ার্ড যে এখানে তোমাদেরকে একটু দেখতে আসি, শুনতে আসি। সো তোমাদের কার কার এমএফএস অ্যাকাউন্ট আছে, বিকাশ বা নগদ? ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট আছে তোমাদের? যাদের এমএফএস আছে ব্যাংকও আছে। ক্যাপিটাল মার্কেট অ্যাকাউন্ট আছে কারো শেয়ার বাজারে? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7। সো হাত কিন্তু দেখছো আস্তে আস্তে কমে গেছে। মানে আমি যত ফাইন্যান্সের সাকসেস স্টোরি পড়ি, বেশিরভাগ সাকসেস স্টোরি কিন্তু বিদেশে। লাইক আমরা ওয়ারেন বাফেটের নাম চিনি, এলন মাস্কের নাম চিনি, জেফ বেজোসের নাম চিনি, বাট বাংলাদেশে কখনো ইকুইটি মার্কেটের সাকসেস স্টোরি শুনছো তোমরা? যে দেয়ার ইজ ওয়ান ওয়ারেন বাফেট অর দেয়ার ইজ ওয়ান, মানে আই ডোন্ট ফাইন্ড এনি আইকন টু ফলো। আমি নিজে ক্যাপিটাল মার্কেটে ইনভেস্ট করি। ওয়ারেন বাফেট যখন বলছে যে উনি তার 11 বছর বয়স থেকে নাকি ইনভেস্ট করতো শেয়ার বাজারে, 11 বছর বয়সে তো বাংলাদেশে অ্যাকাউন্টও খোলা যায় না, তোমার অ্যাটলিস্ট 18 হইতে হয়। সো আমার মনে হয় যে বাংলাদেশের ইকোসিস্টেমে এই আমরা যে আসলে কখনো ওয়েলদি হব বা আমাদের ওয়েলথটা আসুক, আমাদের পলিসি মেকাররা মনে হয় চায় না। মানে পলিসিগুলো এত স্ট্রং, সে আর মনে হয় এগুলো শুধু ওনাদের জন্যই বানানো, মানে গরিবরা গরিব থাকবে, বড় লোকরা বড় লোক হবে, এভাবে বানানো হয়েছে। বাট হাউএভার তোমাদের আসলে নিজের দায়িত্ব তো নিজেদেরই। আমি নিজে খুব মিডল ক্লাস ফ্যামিলিতে বড় হয়েছি। মানে মিডল ক্লাস বলতে কেমন, যে ধরো এখানে 90s-এ জন্ম আছে কারো? 90s-এ? আচ্ছা, 90s-এ দেয়ার ওয়াজ এ কালচার লাইক, আমার জন্ম তো 80s-এ। তো আমরা এক্সট্রিম মানে বাংলাদেশের গ্রোথের ওই সবগুলো ফেজ কিন্তু আমরা দেখে আসছি। এবং আমাদের বাসায় ভালো খাবার রান্না হতো শুক্রবারে। মানে শুক্রবারে ছোট ছোট বাটি থাকতো, যে বাটিতে ধরো ওই গরুর মাংস বা মুরগি মাংস রান্না হলে পোর্শন করে দেওয়া হতো যে এইটুকুই তোমার, ঠিক আছে? সো দিস ইজ কল মিডল ক্লাস। আজকে যখন তোমরা দুপুরে খেতে বসো, তোমাদের কিন্তু এখন মনে হয় যে বেশিরভাগ বাসাতেই কিন্তু শুধু শুক্রবারে ভালো রান্না হয় না, তাই না? দেয়ার আর আদার ডেইজ যখন হচ্ছে। বাট বাংলাদেশের কালচারে কিন্তু ওটা ছিল যে একটা সময় পর্যন্ত শুধুমাত্র একটা ডেতেই ভালো খাবার রান্না হবে, তোমরা ওই দিন সবাই মিলে বসে খাবা। সো ইকোনমিক্যালি আমরা এসকেলেট করছি, আমরা আগের চেয়ে অনেক ডেভেলপড। বাট আই থিঙ্ক উই হ্যাভ আ লং ওয়ে টু গো। মানে এখানে থামলে তো হবে না, বিকজ রাইট নাও দ্য কম্পিটিশন ইজ ভেরি গ্লোবাল। তোমরা এখন আগে যেরকম আমরা শুধু লোকাল জব মার্কেটে ফাইট করতাম, নাও দেখবা যে তোমাদের চাকরিগুলো আসলে ইন্ডিয়ানরা, শ্রীলঙ্কানরা, ওরা এসে কিন্তু এখানে যাচ্ছে। আমাদের আই অলসো ওয়ার্ক ফর ডেইলি স্টার। ডেইলি স্টারের একটা সাবসিডিয়ারি কোম্পানি আছে কিরণ। তো ওখান থেকে আমরা একটা স্টাডি করলাম যে প্রতি বছর 5 লক্ষ ইন্ডিয়ান এবং শ্রীলঙ্কান যারা বাংলাদেশে কাজ করে হোয়াইট কলার জব, তারা বাংলাদেশ থেকে $10 বিলিয়ন নিয়ে যায়। মানে বাংলাদেশে চাকরি করে স্যালারি হিসেবে তারা নিয়ে যায়। ওয়্যারঅ্যাজ বাংলাদেশের যারা ব্লু কলার ওয়ার্কার, যারা দুবাইতে কাজ করছে, মালয়েশিয়াতে কাজ করছে, ওরা এরকম 1,20,00,000 মানুষ বাংলাদেশে আনে $14 বিলিয়ন। সো ইউ সি, 1,20,00,000 মানুষ 14 বিলিয়ন আনছে, আর 5 লক্ষ মানুষ 10 বিলিয়ন নিয়ে চলে যাচ্ছে। সো তোমরা যদি নিজেদেরকে ওই আপস্কিলটা না করো, তোমরা যদি নিজেদের জন্য ওই ডিপ ডাইভটা না দাও, এটা তোমার নিজের যেরকম লস, দিন শেষে তুমি খারাপ থাকবা, তোমার ফ্যামিলির গ্রোথ আসবে না, তোমার ফ্যামিলি যেরকম মিডল ক্লাস ছিল মিডল ক্লাসই থেকে যাবে। সামওয়ান হ্যাজ টু চেঞ্জ দ্য গেম। আর ওই রেসপন্সিবিলিটি কিন্তু নিজেদেরকে নিতে হবে যে না, আমি করে যাব। মানে বি দ্যাট স্টোরি, যাতে আজকে থেকে আমি শুধুমাত্র আমার দাদার ছবি দেখছি, মানে আমি দাদাকে সামনে দেখি নাই। সো আমি মারা যাওয়ার পর আমার মেয়ে তো দাদার ছবি মনে হয় এটা রাখবে। বাট ইফ ইউ ক্যান চেঞ্জ দ্য গেম, ইফ ইউ বি দ্য চেঞ্জ মেকার ইন ইউর ফ্যামিলি, জেনারেশন বাই জেনারেশন কিন্তু তোমাকে মনে রাখবে। সো উই অল আর গোনা ডাই someday, but we should make something meaningful. ওই চেষ্টাটা করতে হবে। সো আজকে আমার আর্জ থাকবে তোমাদের জন্য, 1 নাম্বার, ট্রাই টু চেঞ্জ দ্য গেম ইন ইয়োর লাইফ, ইন ইয়োর ফ্যামিলি, অ্যান্ড অলসো ট্রাই টু কন্ট্রিবিউট ফর দিস কান্ট্রি। বিকজ আমরা প্রত্যেকে জন্ম নিয়েছি, আমাদের জন্মের রিজন আছে, আমরা দুনিয়াতে ভালো কিছু দিয়ে যাব, এটাই আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য হওয়া উচিত। তো থ্যাংক ইউ। তোমরা শনিবার দিন, ছুটির দিন, সকালবেলা এখানে এসে এটা 2টা হার্ড সেশন অ্যাটেন্ড করেছো। আমি মনে করি যে এটা যারা করে তারা অন্যদের থেকে আলাদা এবং তাদেরকে দিয়ে চেঞ্জ সম্ভব। সো চেষ্টা করে যাও। অল দ্য বেস্ট।
Hello everyone, I'm Jisan. I'm president for JCI Dhaka North, and at the same time I'm working for Bangladesh government for last 10 years as a national consultant, previously with Prime Minister's office and currently in ICA division. So I will not extend my long sort of speech because before me there are like many experts from the world, and from our national experts were there and shared main things about the capital market, and also Minhaz shared about how you can extend your study and your career in outside of the country. So I would like to thank especially Imran Bhai and honorable other guests who have joined, and it's great to see Tori after so long. We studied together in business faculty, and it feels great that everyone is here today. And I will not extend, but I will request Tajbir Bhai to share his closing remark. Thank you.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। থ্যাংক ইউ ইমরান ভাই, খুব চমৎকার ইন্সপায়ারিং কিছু কথা বলে গিয়েছে আমাদের সাথে। অ্যান্ড থ্যাংকস টু ডক্টর লরা for having with us. Recently I have visited MIT Digital Economy Center from Central Bank. আমি বাংলাদেশ ব্যাংকে আছি, আমার সময় যেহেতু কম, 5 minutes to 10 minutes, সো আমি সংক্ষেপে কিছু বিষয় বলবো। আমাদের এখানে অনেক ডিস্টিংগুইশড গেস্ট ছিলেন যারা ডিটেলসগুলো বলেছেন বিভিন্ন মানি মার্কেট অ্যান্ড ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল মার্কেটস নিয়ে। তো আমি ওই ডিপ ডাউনে যাব না, আমি জাস্ট আমি ফিনটেকের লোক, আমি বাংলাদেশ ব্যাংকের অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট ডিরেক্টর, আইসিটি সেক্টরে আছি। তো আইসিটি সেক্টরে যা আমাদের ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টরে আইসিটির যে ইউজেসগুলো এবং সেখানে অপরচুনিটিসগুলো, ইভেন আমরা বাইরে কীভাবে ওই সেক্টরগুলোতে আমাদের অপরচুনিটিস গ্রেপ করতে পারি, সেই বিষয়গুলো নিয়ে একটু সংক্ষেপে বলবো। আমি একটা স্লাইডস শেয়ার করছি। স্লাইডটা একটু ছোট হয়ে গিয়েছে, আই থিঙ্ক দেখা যাচ্ছে কিনা। স্লাইডটাকে একটু বড় করা যাবে, জুম? আচ্ছা, তো বেসিক্যালি আমি কাটিং এজ অপরচুনিটিস ইন ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টরস উইথ এআই বেসড ফিনটেক। বেসিক্যালি আমি এআই বেসড ফিনটেক নিয়ে বলতে যাচ্ছি, যারা এখন নিউ জেনারেশন পটেনশিয়াল যারা আছেন, যারা বাইরে পড়াশোনা করতে যেতে চাচ্ছেন। তো আমি রিসেন্টলি যেহেতু এমআইটি ভিজিট করে এসেছি, এমআইটি ডিজিটাল কনফারেন্স অ্যাটেন্ড করে এসেছি, তো সেই এক্সপিরিয়েন্স থেকে আমি বলবো আমাদের বাংলাদেশ এখনও ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টরে অনেক ডেভেলপ করছে, কিন্তু এখনও এআই বেসড অ্যাডপশন আমাদের দেশে এখনও আসেনি। সো আমরা কিছু অ্যাডপশন নিয়ে আসছি। আমাদের সেন্ট্রাল ব্যাংকে আপনারা জানেন ডিজিটাল প্ল্যাটফর্মগুলোর মধ্যে আছে আরটিজিএস, ব্যাচ, সেন্ট্রাল ক্লিয়ারিং হাউস আছে। রিসেন্টলি আমরা টাকা পে কার্ড লঞ্চ করেছি। টাকা পে থ্রুতে আমাদের নিজস্ব, যেমন মাস্টার কার্ড, ভিসা কার্ডের মতো আমাদের নিজস্ব একটা কার্ড সিস্টেম আমরা লঞ্চ করতে যাচ্ছি। সো এটা নিয়ে কাজ হচ্ছে, চিপ বেসড কাজ হচ্ছে। পাশাপাশি আমাদের নিজস্ব ন্যাশনাল পেমেন্ট সুইচ বাংলাদেশ আছে, যেটা থ্রুতে সবগুলো ব্যাংকের যে কোলাবোরেশনের থ্রুতে আমাদের ট্রানজ্যাকশনগুলো হয়ে থাকে। আর এর পাশাপাশি আমরা রিসেন্টলি মাননীয় আইসিটি অ্যাডভাইজারের অ্যাডভাইজিংয়ে আমরা নতুন একটা প্ল্যাটফর্ম লঞ্চ করেছি, আইডিটিপি, যেটা বিনিময় নামে পরিচিত। আপনারা হয়তো দেখেছেন বিকাশ সহ বিভিন্ন ব্যাংকের অ্যাপসে। তো ওইটা শুরু থেকে আমি কাজ করেছি, ওই প্রজেক্টের একেবারে শুরু থেকে আমি ওখানে ছিলাম। সো ওইটা বেসিক্যালি ইন্টার অপারেবল ট্রানজ্যাকশন প্ল্যাটফর্ম। তো বিভিন্ন প্ল্যাটফর্মগুলোর মধ্যে ট্রানজ্যাকশন হয়ে থাকে এটা থ্রুতে। তো আমরা পুরো ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সিস্টেমটাকে ডিজিটালাইজেশন করছি। তো ওই সেক্টরগুলো নিয়ে এখন কাজ হচ্ছে, সামনে এআই বেসড আরও কিছু কাজ হবে, এআই বেসড কিছু কাজ পলিসি নিয়ে কাজ করছি আমরা। তো আমার কন্ট্রিবিউশনগুলো দেখিয়ে বেসিক্যালি লাস্ট ইয়ার আমি এমআইটিতে কনফারেন্সে অ্যাটেন্ড করি, যেখানে ডিজিটাল এক্সপেরিমেন্টেশন হয়েছিল ডিজিটাল ইকোনমির উপরে। তো আমি এখানে আজকে যেটা বলতে চাচ্ছি, বেসিক্যালি এই যে লাস্ট ইয়ার আমি যে কনফারেন্সটা অ্যাটেন্ড করেছি, এখানে বেসিক্যালি শুধু নট অনলি আমাদের আইটি বেসড পিপল যারা আছে তারা অ্যাটেন্ড করেছে ব্যাপারটা তা না। এখানে অ্যাটেন্ড করেছে যারা সোশিওলজি থেকে আসছে, তাদের এখানে অনেক কন্ট্রিবিউশন আছে, বা যারা ইকোনমিক্স থেকে আছে তাদেরও কন্ট্রিবিউশন আছে। ডিফারেন্ট ডিসিপ্লিন থেকে পিপলরা এখানে অ্যাটেন্ড করেছে। সো এখানে শুধুমাত্র যে আইটি সেক্টরের মানুষেরই কন্ট্রিবিউশন থাকবে ব্যাপারটা কিন্তু তা না। এখানে মার্কেট সাইকোলজি নিয়ে কাজ হচ্ছে, সো এখানে সাইকোলজিস্টদেরও ভ্যালু আছে। যারা সোশ্যাল ভ্যালুজ বা সোশ্যাল অ্যাক্টিভিটিস নিয়ে কাজ করছে তাদেরও কন্ট্রিবিউশন থাকছে। সো বেসিক্যালি এটা ডিজিটাল প্ল্যাটফর্ম এক্সপেরিমেন্টেশন নিয়ে কাজ হয়েছে, বাট পলিসি বা অ্যালগোরিদমগুলো ডিফারেন্ট সেক্টরস থেকে তারা কিন্তু কন্ট্রিবিউট করেছে। সো আমরা এখানে আসলে স্লাইডটা একটু বড় হলে দেখা যেত, আমরা এখানে যেটা দেখছি আর কি, যে প্রসপেক্ট অফ নিউ ফিনটেক, ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল টেকনোলজির ইন্ডাস্ট্রির প্রসপেক্টগুলো নিয়ে আমরা যদি আসি, যে ইউজিং জেনারেটিভ এআই ফর ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টরস ডেভেলপমেন্ট। তো জেনারেটিভ এআই এর যে আমাদের সুফলগুলো আছে ওগুলো কিন্তু আমরা আমাদের ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টরে নিয়ে আসতে পারি। যেমন জেনারেটিভ এআই থ্রোতে আমরা ডেটা অ্যানালাইসিস করতে পারি, ডিসিশন অ্যানালাইসিস করতে পারি, ভিন্ন ভিন্ন ডাটা থেকে ডিফারেন্ট ইনপুটগুলো আমরা নিতে পারি। তারপরে আছে এক্সপ্লেনেবল এআই ফাইন্যান্স রোল ইন কাটিং এজ ইফেক্টিভ ডাটা স্ট্র্যাটেজি। ইফেক্টিভ ডাটা স্ট্র্যাটেজির থ্রোতে আমরা ডিফারেন্ট ডাটা অ্যানালাইসিসের থ্রোতে আমরা একটা প্রপার ডিসিশন মেকিংয়ে আসতে পারি। যেমন আমাদের ফোরকাস্টিং খুব জরুরি, যে আমাদের বর্তমানে বাংলাদেশ ব্যাংক নিয়ে কিছু হলেই তো আপনারা হয়তো নিউজে দেখেন বা বিভিন্ন ইস্যু নিয়ে কথা হয়, কিন্তু আমরা এআই যদি প্রপার ইউজ করতে পারি, যে আমরা মনিটারি পলিসিতে কীভাবে এআইয়ের থ্রুতে ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল ডেটাকে অ্যানালাইসিস করে কোন পলিসিটা আমাদের জন্য বেটার হবে সেটা কিন্তু একটা ডিসিশনে চলে আসতে পারি। সো আমাদের এখন হাই টাইম হচ্ছে যে জেনারেটিভ এআই, ডেটা ডিসরাপশন টেকনোলজি ইউজ করে আমাদের প্রপারলি আমাদের পলিসি মেকিংগুলোতে ইউজ করা, যেটা অলরেডি এমআইটিতে তারা রিসার্চ করছে, তাদের সেন্ট্রাল ব্যাংক ইউজ করছে। আমরা যদি ব্যাংক অফ ইংল্যান্ডের দিকে তাকাই, তাদের ইংল্যান্ডের সেন্ট্রাল ব্যাংক, যাদেরকে আমরা ফলো করে আমাদের দেশের আমরা বেসিক্যালি আমাদের সিভিল সার্ভিসকে সাজিয়েছি। ব্রিটিশরা যেহেতু আমাদেরকে শাসন করেছে আপনারা জানেন, তো সেই হিসেবে আমরা যদি তাদের দিকেও তাকাই, তাদের পলিসিও যদি অ্যাডপ্ট করি, তারাও কিন্তু ডাটা সায়েন্স ডিসরাপশনের দিকে চলে যাচ্ছে, জেনারেটিভ এআইকে ইউজ করছে, ডেটা সায়েন্সের দিকে ফোকাস করছে। সো এই সেক্টরগুলোতে এই প্রসপেক্টগুলো আমাদের আছে যে ফিউচারে কন্ট্রিবিউশন করার। তারপরে রেগুলেটরি অ্যান্ড বিজনেস টেকনোলজির রেগুলেশনে আমাদের এআই কিন্তু ইউজ হচ্ছে খুব বেশি। এরপর আপস্কিলিং দ্য ফাইন্যান্স ট্যালেন্ট ফর এআই অগমেন্টেড ওয়ার্কপ্লেস। সো আগে আমরা যখন দেখেছি যে সিএফও বা চিফ অ্যাকাউন্ট্যান্টদের কাজ হচ্ছে শুধুমাত্র ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল ডেটা নিয়ে, সেটা অনেক সময় লাগতো, মানে একটা রিপোর্ট জেনারেট করতে 1 বছর সময় লাগতো সব ধরনের ডেটা নিয়ে। সেই ডেটাগুলো অ্যানালাইসিস করে এখন কম্পিউটারের থ্রোতে, ডেটা অ্যানালাইসিসের থ্রোতে আমরা কিন্তু খুব ফাস্টার আমরা একটা ডিসিশনে পৌঁছাতে পারি। বাট নিউ জেনারেশনে আমি প্রাইভেট সেক্টরের ক্ষেত্রেও বলবো যে নিউ জেনারেশনে যারা ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টরে কেরিয়ার গড়তে চান, তাদের কিন্তু অবশ্যই আইসিটি লিটারেসি অ্যান্ড ডেটা সায়েন্স রিলেটেড নলেজ খুব দরকার। কারণ ডেটা সায়েন্স রিলেটেড নলেজ না থাকলে আপনি প্রপার ডিসিশনটা মেক করতে পারবেন না। প্রপার ডিসিশন মেকিংয়ের জন্য অবশ্যই এআই বেসড, এবং এআই বেসড ডেটা জেনারেশনই কিন্তু এখানেই শেষ না। কোন ডেটা আপনাকে রাখতে হবে, কোন ডেটা আপনাকে ফেলে দিতে হবে, এবং কোন ডেটা নিয়ে আপনাকে ফার্দার ডিসিশন অ্যানালাইসিস করতে হবে, এই বিষয়গুলো খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট। সো সবাইকে এখন হচ্ছে ডেটা সায়েন্স বেসিক্যালি বেসিক কিছু কোর্স যেমন পাইথন, তারপর প্রোগ্রামিং, এই বিষয়গুলো নিয়ে একটু কাজ করা জরুরি। ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টর, ইভেন মার্কেটিং সেক্টর। আমি যখন এমআইটিতে গিয়েছি, এমআইটি আমাদের যে প্রফেসর আমাদের বেসিক্যালি প্রোগ্রামটা অর্গানাইজ করেছিল, লেকচার দিয়েছিলেন, তিনি কিন্তু মার্কেটিংয়ের ফ্যাকাল্টি, মার্কেটিংয়ে অ্যাসোসিয়েট প্রফেসর। বাট ওনার আইটি লিটারেসি এত মানে আপগ্রেডেড, আমি নিজেই অবাক হয়ে গেছি যে উনি প্রত্যেকটা প্রোগ্রামিং ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ সম্পর্কে ধারণা রাখে, এবং প্রত্যেকটা অ্যালগোরিদম মডেল নিয়ে ডিরেক্ট কথা বলছিল প্রফেসরদের সাথে। সো এখন যারা মার্কেটিংয়ে পড়ছেন বা যারা ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টরে আছেন, এখন কিন্তু অবভিয়াসলি আপনাদের ডিজিটাল সেগমেন্টে কাজ করতে হবে, ডিজিটাল ইকোনমিতে কাজ করতে হবে। আর ডিজিটাল ইকোনমিতে কাজ করতে হলে অবভিয়াসলি আইটির সাথে সম্পর্ক রাখতে হবে। আর রিসার্চ অপরচুনিটিস কথা যদি আমি বলি, যে ফিনটেকের রিসার্চ অপরচুনিটি কী আছে, সেখানে ডেটা অ্যান্ড ডিসরাপশন মার্কেটিং, এআই অ্যান্ড মেশিন লার্নিং ফর ফাইন্যান্স ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। অ্যান্ড দেন হচ্ছে ডিসিশন অ্যানালাইসিস ফর ফিনটেক ইন্ডাস্ট্রিজ। সো ডিসিশন অ্যানালাইসিসটা ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। অ্যান্ড থার্ড ওয়ান হচ্ছে প্রোটোটাইপ ডিজাইনিং অ্যান্ড আইডিয়া জেনারেশন ফর নিউ ফিনটেক প্ল্যাটফর্মস। যারা ডিজাইনিংয়ে কেরিয়ার গড়তে চান, জাস্ট 2 মিনিটস, যারা হচ্ছে ডিজাইনিংয়ে কেরিয়ার গড়তে চান, মানে সবাইকে যে ফিনটেক নিয়ে কাজ করতে হবে বা মার্কেট নিয়ে কাজ করতে হবে তা না, এখানে প্ল্যাটফর্ম ডিজাইনিং, প্ল্যাটফর্মকে ডেভেলপ করা, তারপরে হচ্ছে ইউএক্স ডিজাইন, এগুলো ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। যখন আপনারা ফিনটেকে আসবেন দেখবেন ছোট ছোট প্ল্যাটফর্ম নিয়ে কাজ হচ্ছে বা ডিফারেন্ট অপরচুনিটিস ক্রিয়েট হচ্ছে, মানে ওয়েবসাইটের থ্রুতে যখন আমরা ট্রানজ্যাকশন করি, আমি আমার আইডিটিপির উদাহরণ দিই বিনিময় প্ল্যাটফর্মে। তো বিনিময় প্ল্যাটফর্মে যখন আমি ডিজাইন করেছি একটা ট্রানজ্যাকশনের পর আরেকটা ট্রানজ্যাকশনে কী হবে, এর পরবর্তী ইনস্ট্রাকশনগুলো কী হবে, এই জিনিসগুলো ডিজাইন করার ক্ষেত্রে কিন্তু প্রোটোটাইপ ডিজাইনিং ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট, অ্যান্ড প্রোটোটাইপ ডিজাইনিং অ্যান্ড আইডিয়া জেনারেশন, ব্রেইন স্টর্মিং। সো এটাও কিন্তু ফিনটেক ইন্ডাস্ট্রির জন্য ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট একটা রিসার্চ সেক্টর। এখন আসি এই আরেকটা বিষয় নিয়ে, অপরচুনিটিস ইন ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং ম্যানেজমেন্ট, MBA অ্যান্ড মাস্টার্স অফ বিজনেস অ্যানালিটিক্স ডিগ্রিজ। সো এই সেক্টর নিয়ে অলরেডি মিনহাজ ভাই কিছুটা বলেছে, বাট আমি কিছু এক্সট্রা বিষয় বলবো। আপনারা হয়তো অনেকেই ভেবে থাকবেন যে MBA করা বাহিরে ভেরি কস্টলি। অবভিয়াসলি কস্টলি। ইউএসএতে MBA হচ্ছে সবচেয়ে প্রফিটেবল ডিগ্রি, নট প্রেস্টিজিয়াস ডিগ্রি। প্রেস্টিজিয়াস ডিগ্রি অবভিয়াসলি ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং বা অন্য সেক্টর হতে পারে, বাট যদি প্রফিটেবল ডিগ্রি ভাবেন যে সবচেয়ে বেশি স্যালারি কাদের বা মিড রেঞ্জে এন্ট্রি করতে হলে অবভিয়াসলি আপনাকে বিজনেস সেক্টরে যেতে হবে। কেন? তারা হবে ডিসিশন টেকার, তারা হবে ম্যানেজার, তারা হবে একটা ইন্ডাস্ট্রির ওনার বা একটা স্টার্ট আপ বিল্ড আপ করবে। তো অবভিয়াসলি তাদেরকে কিন্তু আইটি নিয়েও কাজ করতে হবে। যদি আপনি ইউএসের MBA-গুলোর কথা এখন থিঙ্ক করেন, তাহলে দেখবেন ইউএসের সবগুলো MBA কিন্তু এখন মোটামুটি স্টেমের দিকে চলে যাচ্ছে। এখন আপনি বলতে চান যে স্টেমটা কি, মানে কোশ্চেন থাকতে পারে স্টেমটা কি? সায়েন্স, টেকনোলজি, ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং অ্যান্ড ম্যানেজমেন্ট। অনেকে ম্যানেজমেন্ট বলে, অনেকে ম্যাথ বলে। সো বেসিক্যালি বাহিরের যে ম্যানেজমেন্ট ডিগ্রিগুলো আছে ইউএসএতে, আমরা যদি MBA-র কথা থিঙ্ক করি বা ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং ম্যানেজমেন্টের কথা থিঙ্ক করি, তখন দেখব ওখানে কিন্তু আমাদের দেশে যে কোয়ালিটেটিভ পড়াশোনাগুলো বেশি হয়েছে, ওখানে কিন্তু কোয়ালিটেটিভ না, ওখানে বিষয়গুলো থাকে কোয়ান্টিটেটিভ। আর কোয়ালিটেটিভ থাকে, কোয়ালিটি ইস্যুগুলো থাকে, কিন্তু পাশাপাশি সব কিছু কোয়ান্টিটেটিভ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। কারণ প্রবাবিলিস্টিক ডেটা অথবা হচ্ছে আপনার প্রোগ্রামিং ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ, অ্যালগোরিদমস, এগুলো কিন্তু আপনার মার্কেট অ্যানালাইসিসের ক্ষেত্রে, ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল ডেটা ক্রিয়েশনের ক্ষেত্রে এগুলো লাগবে। সো যেহেতু স্টেম বেসড মাস্টার্স অপরচুনিটি ইউএসএতে ক্রিয়েট হয়েছে, সেই ক্ষেত্রে এখন কিন্তু অনেক ধরনের ফান্ডিং অপরচুনিটিস আছে। সো ডেটা সায়েন্সটা এখন বিজনেস স্টাডিজের সাথে কোলাবোরেশনে একসাথে ওপেন হয়েছে। যেমন ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং ম্যানেজমেন্ট আছে, বিজনেস অ্যানালিটিক্স আছে, বিজনেস অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশন আছে। সো অনেকেই বলে যে ইউএসএতে পড়াশোনা করতে গেলে MBA-তে হয়তো ফান্ডিং পাবো না। ফান্ডিং না পেলে কোনো সমস্যা নেই, সেখানে অনেক ধরনের স্টুডেন্ট লোন অপরচুনিটিস আছে। যারা MIT-তে পড়তে চায় বা যারা হার্ভার্ডে পড়তে চায় বা টপ 20 বিজনেস স্কুলে যারা পড়তে চায়, তাদের সবার জন্যই কিন্তু ওখানে স্টুডেন্ট লোন ফ্যাসিলিটিস আছে। এখন আপনাদের কোশ্চেন হলো, স্টুডেন্ট লোন ফ্যাসিলিটি পেলে তো আমি অনেক বড় করের বোঝায় পড়ে যাব। তো ব্যাপারটা আসলে তা না। ওখানে যে ধরনের স্টুডেন্ট লোন থাকে তাদের ইন্টারেস্ট রেট অনেক কম থাকে, এবং ভালো ভার্সিটি থেকে পাশ করা ভালো গ্রেডের স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য তারা স্টুডেন্ট লোনটা অনেক ক্ষেত্রে ওয়েভ করে দেয়। আর অনেক ক্ষেত্রে যেই পাশ করার পরপরই তো তারা কোনো কোম্পানিজে জয়েন করে, কোম্পানি পে করে দেয়। সো এখানে মানে ইউএসএতে গেলে সেই ধরনের মানে কোনো অপরচুনিটি লুজ করার সুযোগ থাকে না। সো আরেকটু বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম, অলমোস্ট শেষ। আরেকটা বিষয় হচ্ছে যে স্কলারশিপ অপরচুনিটি শুধুমাত্র ফুল ব্রাইট বা শেভনিং এই ধরনের অপরচুনিটিতেই শুধু লিমিটেড না। ইউএসএতে প্রত্যেকটা ভার্সিটির নিজস্ব ওয়েবসাইটে আপনারা গুগল গিয়ে সার্চ করবেন, প্রত্যেকটা ভার্সিটির ওয়েবসাইটে হিউজ পরিমাণ স্কলারশিপ অপরচুনিটিস আছে। আর সময় যেহেতু নাই, সো আমি এসওপি নিয়ে বা এসএ নিয়ে কথা বলতে চেয়েছিলাম, সো এটা সময় হচ্ছে না। সো আমি লাস্ট ইয়ার যেহেতু ভিজিট করে এসেছি, সো এখানে কিছু আমার পিকচার দেখানোর ইচ্ছা ছিল যে আমি হার্ভার্ড বিজনেস স্কুলে একদিন ক্লাস করার আমার সেই সৌভাগ্য হয়েছে। MIT-তে আমি একদিন ক্লাস করেছি, MBA-র ক্লাস তাদের সবার সাথে। সো আমরা তাদের ক্লাসের যে মূল বৈশিষ্ট্যটা, সেটা হচ্ছে রিয়েল টাইম কেস স্টাডি বেসড তাদের পড়াশোনা। যে এখন ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে কী প্রবলেম হচ্ছে, মাইক্রোসফটের এখন কী প্রবলেম হচ্ছে, নেটফ্লিক্সের এখন কী প্রবলেম হচ্ছে, সেই কেসটা চলে আসে ভার্সিটিতে। অ্যান্ড প্রফেসররা তখন ক্লাসে ডিসকাশনের থ্রুতে কোয়ান্টিটেটিভ অ্যানালাইসিসের থ্রুতে সেটা সলিউশন বের করে অ্যান্ড দেন কোম্পানিকে দেয়। সো এর মাধ্যমে তারা রিয়েল ওয়ার্ল্ডের সাথে রিয়েল কোম্পানিগুলোর সাথে একটা ভালো রিলেশনশিপ ক্রিয়েট হয়। আর এই কারণে তারা খুব দ্রুত ইন্টার্নশিপ অপরচুনিটি পায়। আর দেন হচ্ছে ইন্টার্নশিপ করার পর মোটামুটি তাদের জব মোটামুটি কনফার্ম হয়ে যায়। আর বাকি যারা থাকে তারা স্টার্ট আপ নিয়ে কাজ করে, এন্টারপ্রেনারশিপ নিয়ে কাজ করে। এই হচ্ছে তাদের মোটামুটি টপ ইউনিভার্সিটিগুলোর ট্রেন্ডস। আমি আরও কিছু বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম, অ্যান্ড দ্যাটস অল ফ্রম মি, অ্যান্ড থ্যাংক ইউ এভরিওয়ান ফর জয়নিং উইথ আস। মিনহাজ ভাই, আপনাকে হ্যান্ড ওভার করছি। থ্যাংক ইউ। কাইন্ডলি একটু সবাই সামনে আসবেন, আমরা আসলে সবাই মিলে একটা ছবি তুলবো। আসেন, চলে আসেন। সময় যেহেতু কম, সো আমি এত এক্সপ্লেইন করতে পারিনি। কারো যদি জানার ইচ্ছে থাকে প্লিজ কাইন্ডলি আমাকে নক করবেন। থ্যাংক ইউ।